So an honest but mistaken man, when confronted with the truth, will either cease to be mistaken or cease to be honest. This is an old proverb that dates back to medieval times. The identity of the author is unknown, but it's thought to be the original work of a Jewish philosopher. It's often used in the Christian community as a case study of the Apostle Paul. Before accepting Jesus, Paul, also known as Saul at the time, was a deeply religious man, and he was very sincere in his beliefs, and he was very zealous for what he believed to be true, but he was mistaken. And on that long road to Damascus, he had to ask himself, am I honest? So the author, the anonymous author of this proverb, may very well have had someone similar to Paul in mind when he wrote it. This proverb highlights the possibility that a good man, a well-meaning man, can be mistaken. And it's the choice in how we respond to that revelation that distinguishes our true character. So today, I'm going to tell you a story about a young man who responded well to his mistake. And this mistake cost another man his life. On June 22nd, 2013, Matthew Cordell killed Vincent Canzani in a drunk driving accident. He was persuaded, his lawyers tried to persuade him to plead not guilty. And they tried to convince him that all this evidence against you, we can get thrown out. And at 22 years old, he must have been tempted. But he responded differently. He put a video online, and on that video he said, I made a huge mistake, and I'm going to take what's coming to me. He also stated that he didn't want to dishonor Vincent's memory by lying about what had happened. At the end of his video, he said this. He said, I can't bring Mr. Canzani back, and I can't erase what I've done, but you can still be saved. Your victims can still be saved. And he begged the people watching not to drink and drive. So he was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. He had a lifetime ban from driving. I guess that's the law in Ohio. And the closing words at his trial, the last words he gave to the court were this: the true punishment is simply living with the knowledge that I took an innocent life. That pain and weight will never go away. So Cordell's confession has brought healing to some of Canzani's family members. Not all relatives have been very forgiving. But because it was posted online, it was viewed by many people, and many people who had been survivors of victims of drunk driving were also very moved by this and had a sense of closure just from watching him confess. And his face is now on billboards across Ohio with a warning to drivers not to make the same grave mistake that he made. Now, some believe that Cordell was merely reaching out for forgiveness through this video. An honest but mistaken man can win the hearts of his enemies with honesty. Well, that's a pretty weak saying. Some people believe that Cordell was trying to get a lighter sentence by admitting his guilt. An honest but mistaken man will have everything go well for him because he's telling the truth. Well, that's just not true. An honest but mistaken man, like all of us, has a choice to make. A deeply personal and deeply revealing choice. So some skeptics would criticize my choice of this story to highlight this proverb. That's Mr. Canzani, by the way, I forgot to highlight him. So some skeptics would criticize my choice of this story. Some would say, couldn't you have told a story about an honest man being rewarded in the end? Well, that's not why we should be honest. Some people might say, well, couldn't you have found a more likable person, someone who maybe didn't kill someone else, someone I could more relate to? Well, that's what makes this story so powerful. It's these little mistakes. It's relatively easy to be honest when the stakes are low. Matthew Cordell's stakes were very high. They were extreme. This proverb presents a choice between two extremes of character: valuing truth or being too proud to do so. It's a difficult choice. Telling the truth can be very difficult. There are times when it can be a major blow to one's ego. There are times when lying can be very easy, and no one will ever know. You can easily get away with it. But the consequences to our character can be quite dramatic. We all have a choice. we will all be confronted with truth. This truth may very well reveal our mistakes. Will we choose our own spotless reputation as the higher ordeal? Or instead, will we uphold the virtue of integrity? Please join me, a man of many mistakes, both past and future, in choosing truth over prideful arrogance and being honest. Just got to show that there's people in the room.